I had to look at it from a long term because I wasn't going to give up on the game. I just dream. I dream. I have dreams, and dreams is they should be pure. And I think a lot of times, when we're born into this world, we actually wind up going backwards. And it seems like the more we mature, the more responsible our dreams become, and the more governors we put on ourselves and our ability to dream and to reimagine. And it's always a fight for us parents and for you guys to make sure that your dreams always stay pure. And so it's not a matter of pushing beyond your limitations or expectations. It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless. I think I was born to play, man. I started playing at like 2 years old. And my father wasn't one of these fathers that was like, you're going to play basketball, or, he wasn't one of those guys. It was just I was just around the game a lot, and I gravitated to the ball, and I was completely geeking out about like the smell of the ball and like the way it sounds when it hits concrete versus how it hits a parquet floor, and like the sound of the nets and the different material of the nets. And there's certain basketball hoops, like in high school gyms and in college gyms, the rim sits slightly above the lower part of the backboard. And it was like I was geeking out if I got into a gym which was like the NBA with the lower stanchion of the backboard and the hoop were completely parallel with each other. Like little shit like that would freak me out. So to answer your question, I was born to do this thing, man, and I did it nonstop all day long from the age of 2 to when I retired, man. Man, if you got to get up every single morning and remind yourself how hard you need to work, you probably need to choose a different profession, because that shouldn't be there. I wake up in the morning excited to get to it. If I'm not training, I'm missing it. If I'm not watching a game of basketball, I miss it. There's no place I'd rather be. And if you have that feeling, then you're truly doing what God has put you on this earth to do. I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. Right? But you always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But, basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when, like, my teammates would say, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit me with an elbow in practice. And, Nick Van Exel would come up and say, are you okay? I'm like, motherfucker, what? Are you okay? What the hell's wrong with you? So I always had that extra chip on my shoulder. So every day in practice for me was really trying to annihilate everybody that I was playing against. Because I wanted to prove you don't need to babysit me. I'm fine, And so it's always that competitive nature, the work ethic, and curiosity. Because I asked a lot of questions. Playing with Bryant Scott, I asked him a lot of questions. Eddie Jones, who was great at chasing guards off the screens, and I didn't understand how to do that. I would sit with him before practice, after practice. Magic, James Worthy, Kurt Rambis, Kareem Abdul, all the Laker greats, I would always sit down and just ask them questions about certain games that I studied growing up. What actually happened there? What did you feel there? Why? Bird tough to defend. Why? Because he looks slow as shit to me. So I'm missing something. So tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean? And so I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could. It's okay to fail because you're going to be loved no matter what. And that doesn't just mean basketball. That means anything in life. That means writing. That means being an entrepreneur. That means having the confidence to go for it. And I've seen too many parents do the exact opposite, and it terrifies children, and children become paralyzed by their own fear because they don't have that security blanket of love and comfort. What I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go, emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all, and then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion. A lot of times I've seen players, even myself, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear
And to the point where you're saying, okay, nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in this situation. Like, nah. And it does nothing but grow versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about this situation. Yeah, I am fearful about this situation. Well, what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course. You know, you think about game-winning shots or game-winning free throws, and people go to the free throw line and they're nervous about it. Well, what are you really nervous about? If you unpack that, okay, you're nervous that you're going to miss the shot. All right, so you miss the shot, then what happens? People are going to be embarrassed. You're going to be embarrassed because thousands of people, millions of people see you miss the shot. All right, and then what? People are going to talk bad about you. Okay, right? And so you're looking at it and go, are those things even important? You know what I mean? If that is my fear, like what is, you worried about letting your teammates down? Okay, have you let them down before? Well, I'm sure in practice and things of that nature, right? They're still there. Yeah. You know? And so when you're able to unpack it, you kind of look at it for what it is, which is really nothing. Don't hide from it. You know, you got to be able to look at it and, you know, and deal with it head on. You know, you grow up and you make game-winning shots and it's awesome. And you come back the next day and miss a game-winning shot and it's misery. And then the next day comes and you're back playing again. And you understand that life has this cyclical nature where it's, you know, what you do on Monday is fantastic, but then Tuesday is a bad day. But guess what? There's Wednesday. Yeah. So are we just supposed to live our lives like this the whole time? You know, versus just staying like this and understanding that it's really just a journey of evolution every day. Is just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter. It's the figuring out that matters. I had to look long term because in the here and now, I couldn't compete with these kids. I mean, there's kids that were like 12 years old with beards. Like, I can't, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, they're doing windmills and dunking backwards, and I'm happy to like tap the backboard, you know? So I had to look at it from a long term because I wasn't going to give up on the game. Right. So I had to say, okay, this year, I'm going to get better at that. Next year, this, and then so forth and so on. And then patiently, I was able to catch them. Like, I expected us to win championships. I expected us to win 5, quite honestly. I expected us to win 8. And so when you have that vision in sports, it's a direct competition. Like, I know how hard they're working. I know how hard we're working. I know what their strategy is. I know what ours is, you know? So it's a little different. So when we went in the NBA, it was like, yeah, we expected to do that. But now we're going to come back and we're going to do it again, you know? And so it's that constant, like, all right, you're churning. You win one championship, I'm back in the gym the next day, working, getting ready for the next one. Our job is to try to inspire the creativity inside of our children, so that they can think through how to problem solve situations. So like, you know, when I coach my daughter's team, it's not about giving them answers. It's about asking them questions and getting them to process things, right? When the game is being played, I'm not sitting there giving them answers or barking out things on the sideline. I sit down and I'm quiet. My assistant coach sits there and she's quiet. And the kids figure things out for themselves, or they don't. And then they come back and there's always questions. And then you kind of ask them more questions and you help them figure it out. But then you see their level of excitement to practice every day increase because it's a process that they are owning, right? They're not coming to get orders barked at them every day. They're coming for kind of their personal quest to get better.